they stood up to the council when they tried to block their streets, and this is in Withington, and it's this awful low traffic LTN thing, low traffic neighbourhood thing. But this is a kind of a good story, I suppose. Is that right? So what happened?
So Withington is in South Manchester, next to Disbury. There were some streets there that were being used as a rat run, so the council decided to put some wooden planters in a low traffic neighbourhood. You plot the streets off, make some one way, you make it hard for people to drive through. And what happened very quickly was all the neighbouring streets then got all the traffic. There was an incident beginning of the year, I think it was beginning of this year, if not end of last year, where a mother on one of the streets phoned for an ambulance for her sick baby. Ambulance couldn't get to the house, was driving around trying to get past these planters, had to park 1 or 2 streets away and then run on foot to the house to inspect the baby. The baby then needed, they only could take so much equipment with them. You know, you've been in the back of an ambulance, it's like an operating theatre. The stuff we have no idea what to do. Yeah. They had to take the baby to the ambulance, so they had to take the baby in their arms and walk 1 or 2 streets away to get it in the back of an ambulance. Absolutely shocking, especially if you're a mother of a sick baby and the services can't get to you. So the residents started petitioning, campaigning, protesting, and finally the council's backed down. For the moment, they've not said this is permanent, so they've removed the planters, but they haven't said they're not coming back. They've just said something like, we're going to review this situation now. This is what people power does. So if you live in a neighbourhood and you get all your neighbours together, the vast majority of, they don't have to be everybody, the vast majority of people, and you complain and you let councillors know, you'll lose your seat in this area if you don't do as you're told. That's how you get change. Moaning about it, complaining about it doesn't work. You've got to show the people in charge, who are the elected councillors, you'll lose this seat if you don't start doing what we want you to do, and that's what they did.
Right.
Well done to them. So one of the first experiments in Manchester for low traffic neighbourhoods has failed. Good. And we need to make sure they don't start it somewhere else or bring it back. I don't think they'll all bring it back here now. I think the council's now got a bloody nose. They've not said, definitely they're not bringing it back, because I think they're trying to keep some face.
But I think I've seen these though. I'm sure I've seen these in Stretford, around there, where they stick a planter at the end of this.
Yeah.
I'm sure I've seen these.
Yeah, but this is just Manchester, so Manchester Council.
All right, okay.
That'll be Trafford.
I think Trafford are doing this already.
The area in Greater Manchester it's happening to, but these people said no, we're not having it.
Yeah.
And they fought back. You can fight back against these things.
And it's this constant, isn't it? Constantly trying to control our lives all the time, to limit what we do, to stop us doing things that we've been used to doing for years.
Which is driving.
And driving. Yeah. It's just unbearable to me, this. And it's the traffic cones, the bicycle lanes are the same thing as well, isn't it? You know, it's just kind of, we've decided this is the right thing. Nobody else has actually raised it as an issue or whatever. We've decided, we know what's right, and we're going to do this, and we're going to stick a low traffic neighbourhood in your area, whether you like it or not. Yeah. But actually now the people here said, we don't like this, we didn't ask for it, you need to get rid of it, which is great news.
It is.
Which is great news, but very rare.
Very rare. So the council probably would say it's because of speeding cars. Right, I get that, they're dangerous. Well, tackle the speeding cars, because if you make that a low traffic neighbourhood, do you think those speeding cars were only speeding on those 2 streets? Or do you think it's a personal trait, it's a habit those drivers have? So now they're speeding on another street. So that doesn't stop people speeding. It just means we're now going to speed on the street next door.
Correct.
So tackle the issue, which is dangerous driving. And of course, I'm pro-motorist, but I'm not pro-bad motorist. So let's penalise speeders. Let's penalise people driving dangerously. But let's not penalise all drivers because we have 1 or 2 who we need to sort out. And that's what these low traffic neighbourhoods do.
I'll ask a question now, and you probably don't have the answer. Did they have any empirical, factual data that they based these decisions on? Was it based on the number of deaths that occur in the area? Was it based on air pollution? What the decision to make this a low traffic neighbourhood, what drove that?
Not 100% sure, but I would imagine it was based on reports of speeding cars, because people reporting speeding cars on their streets.
Yeah.
And I would imagine it's those sort of reports. They then would have gone out to consultation, because the council can't do this without speaking to anybody. They went out to consultation, and what you do as a council is, if you go out to consultation, you then make sure the groups who support this decision get the electronic consultation. So they sent it to the walking groups, the cycling groups, and all of them go, we want this and that, yeah, tick that box. But that then outweighs the local people on those streets, because you don't do a consultation and have to only speak to those two streets.
Yeah.
You can have a much wider consultation and make sure you get the answer you want. That's how councils basically get these sort of decisions.
They steer the consultations to people who they know will support it.
Exactly.
Yeah, to the knit your
Andy
own.
Burnham did it with the Clean Air Zone. Andy Burnham, if you look at who signed, under 5,000 people signed, did the consultation for the Clean Air Zone. And when you look at it, most of them were connected to the cyclist campaigns and this campaign and that. It's like, well, you already support this.
Yeah.
You just go to the people who you know will give you the answer you want.
And that leads us nicely into Andy Burnham, and we're going to do a more detailed podcast on Andy Burnham later. Andy Burnham, in a visit to West Houghton. Where is West Houghton, by the way?
It's Bolton.
Bolton. Oh yeah, Bolton. So this is in the Bolton news.
Yeah.
Pledges no return to the CAS or the Clean Air Zone on his West Houghton visit. And for the viewers, the Clean Air Zone that Andy Burnham put together cost us £300 million. So
And never started.
So he's pledged. So he spent 300 million quid of our money on something, and then he's now pledging, like he's doing us a favour. It's never going to come back. So what the hell's going on here?
So he said this a couple of months ago, that he's not going to implement the Clean Air Zone now, but he said it to the press. This is the first time, because he's campaigning now to be re-elected, this is the first time he's been in front of the general public. He had a walkabout in Bolton, visit some shops, and of course they've mentioned this to him. So now he's now said it to people. I'm not going to implement the Clean Air Zone. The Clean Air Zone that I wanted in the first place, asked Parliament to give us, the Clean Air Zone that I decided was going to cover the whole of Greater Manchester, the Clean Air Zone I decided was going to charge motorists to drive, that Clean Air Zone. So he's not going to implement it now because the public went mad and he thought he was going to lose votes and lose his position as mayor. So he's cancelled it after spending something like 300 million of our tax money on a project now he says he's never going to implement. It's good that he said it, because nobody wants this. But he's saying it during the election. But the next questions we need to ask him is, okay, Andy, why are the cameras still up? Why are all the signs still up saying coming soon? My fear tells me that, the Clean Air Zone's dead in the water. Now he's said that, you can never go back on it. You can't do that. You can rebrand it, call it a ULEZ, change the area a little bit, and this is a new scheme now, a new scheme. The mayor that comes after him doesn't have to live up to his promises. The new mayor, let's say Andy Burnham wins this election, but then we get an election next year, we get a new mayor in who wants charging people pay per mile. Well, the infrastructure's there waiting for someone to flick a switch.
And has anybody asked him that question?
Not publicly, is that to answer.
Right. Why don't people ask him these questions?
He makes sure he's never in a situation where anyone could ask him that question. And I would imagine when they ask him that question, his answer will be, well, I don't own the cameras. There's nothing I can do about the cameras. This is national government paid for the cameras.
On his instigation.
Yes.
Yeah.
His project. Only the mayor can instigate this project.
Yeah.
So if only the mayor can instigate it, then surely only the mayor can disband it. And he's already said he's not implementing it. So get rid of the cameras. Sell them. Each camera must be worth tens of thousands of pounds second hand.
Yeah.
Because they've never been used. They're as good as new, mate. They're as good as new. We may not have the boxes anymore to put them in, but they're as good as new, never been worked. So you could sell them, get a couple of million, get a few million back. I don't know how much you need to get back, but surely get a couple of million back and spend it fixing the potholes.
Yeah. Or fixing crime.
Yeah.
Yeah, or putting together the off-road bike unit.
If you like that video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell and comment. And if you like what I'm saying about running for Mayor of Greater Manchester, then stick around. Tell your family, tell your friends. The only way I'm going to have a chance of winning is a grassroots movement. So be part of that movement and hit that bell. Thanks.